What is happiness? Happiness is a mental or emotional state of well-being characterized by positive or pleasant emotions ranging from contentment to intense joy. A variety of biological, psychological, religious, and philosophical approaches have striven to define happiness and identify its sources. Various research groups, including positive psychology, endeavor to apply the scientific method to answer questions about what happiness is and how it might be obtained. It is of such fundamental importance to a human condition that life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness were deemed to be unalienable rights by the United States Declaration of Independence. Humans seem happiest through factors such as money, the right frontal cortex, autonomy, play, cerebral, and happiness. But what is really happiness?
I would probably define happiness as finding your passion in life, finding someone you love, making enough money to do what you want to do, and really just doing what you want.
Oh, I think it's being comfortable in your own skin, and there's a feeling of general contentment.
I wouldn't define it in any way with money. I think it goes much further or much less than money in a sense. Money may help you find happiness, but for me, happiness is being able to find enjoyment with those around you or with what you're doing.
Waking up feeling good all the time, feeling good all the time. Mm-hmm. Being able to communicate with people smiling, that too.
Well, whenever anybody talks about happiness, I guess the first thing that usually they say is, where do you find happiness? And my feeling is that you don't find happiness. It's a feeling like being angry or being sad or so. Happiness is just a little happy little butterfly feeling inside your heart.
What's the key to happiness? According to a new study published in The Lancet, it probably has something to do with where and how long you live. The researchers found happiness generally follows a U-shaped curve, peaking in the late teens and 20s, dipping down to its lowest between 45 and 54, then gradually creeping up again throughout your twilight years. Researchers say as you age, you acquire emotional wisdom. Basically, you learn the best way to live your life and stay away from things that make you unhappy.
I would say it probably is harder to be happy when you're older, depending on everyone's situation, of course, but like kids are so carefree, they have nothing to worry about. And as an adult, especially in the hard economy, like money is a big stressor. Obviously, individual people have like divorces or, your family dies, and that's got to be such a hard thing. So it's probably harder to be happy, but I'm not saying it's impossible, obviously.
It's definitely different. The main reason being that I spent 53 years with the man I adored. To have him suddenly taken away changes everything completely. The happiness that I've gotten is because I'm here, I think. Plus, when it happened, I had a family that was very close and loving and supportive. Everybody loves everybody in the family. There's no dissension and hatred. That was my main support. But then I happened to be here. Jim had arranged this because I was having surgery before that happened. We were moving in the next day. The day after he died was when we were supposed to move in here. So I came anyway because my children insisted I do that, and discovered that there are a lot of people here who have been through what I've been through, and that was a different kind of support than the family support. But it became very important. It has become very, very important to me and my happiness. I'm not sure I would have found the enjoyment in life that I have found if I hadn't had a place like this to go to.
I think that when I was younger, I was always on the hunt for happiness. You kind of think it's out there somewhere, and if you just turn this corner, or you do this or that, and the next thing you know, you're going to be happy. But I think that somewhere along the line, you learn that being a good, true person to yourself, if you are a moral person or an honest person and a trustworthy person, that and you gather all these things into your life, and the whole time you're living your life while this is happening. And it's important to it's always been important to me to be a good wife and a good mother and a good grandmother, and as my one grandchild always called me Grandma Sweetheart, and that's a happy little feeling that makes you realize that, yeah, I'm happy where I am. I was probably happy when I was young too, but now when I'm older, I appreciate my happiness more.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're a kid, you play with a toy. When you're an adult, you take a vacation. When you're older, you know, time to relax. I think it's harder to be happy in the same ways that you used to find happiness, but there's different kinds of happiness that you can seek, and you adapt.
I was happiest in my life for about 30 years before I came here while my husband was alive. And, I had a great husband. And you just go on after your husband passes. Just make the best of it at that point.
The more we learn about aging, the clearer it becomes that a sweeping downward course is grossly inaccurate. Aging brings some rather remarkable improvements. Increased knowledge, expertise, and emotional aspects of life improve. Therefore, we compared and contrasted the beliefs of young adults regarding happiness to the reality and origins of happiness in elders.
Watching TV with my wife, holidays with family, grandkids coming to visit, children coming to visit, playing video games.
Depends a lot on my physical condition. I don't know how healthy I'll be, but hopefully I'll still be riding horses, being outside as much as possible. I love being outside. Seeing the world would be great if I haven't already seen it by then. Hopefully I'll have family, being with them.
When I am the happiest is when my family is all together, having a wonderful time. Playing baseball, water skiing, whatever it is, that's when I'm the happiest. That's when everybody's together, and the joy that everybody feels in each other, just, you can't help but feel joy. I honestly think the greatest accomplishment that both Jim and I and Ann accomplished was raising all your kids together, along with the cousins, and having them now be all happy together and a peaceful, loving family, and not to have the problems that so many people face in their families. Yeah. Jim and I both agreed with that. We talked about it often, about if we had accomplished nothing else in this life, we had accomplished a beautiful, loving family.
It's a, let's see, what do I want to say about that? When you're 20, you're full of anticipation, and you want to see what's going to happen next and that sort of thing. And when you're our age, you live in the moment more. So I think it's a different kind of happiness.
I think being able to have the good memories and being able to grab onto a situation and appreciate a moment and not let it pass by. You know, when you get really busy, you've got all these balls in the air all the time and doing all these things, and you don't really stop and appreciate them. I recently took, about 8 years ago, when I was in retirement, decided that I wanted to do something that I'd thought about forever, and I learned to do Braille transcription. So I take English and transcribe textbooks and children's books into Braille and have them embossed, and they're sent around to all over the place. And it was a difficult thing. You have to get a certification through the Library of Congress, and when I did all that, I thought, gee, that made me the happiest, and now it contributes to part of my happiness, because when I'm working on it, I'm thinking that I'm going to make somebody else happy, and sometimes that is what happiness is giving of yourself and of whatever talent you might have to somebody else. So you're making them happy, and sometimes when I'm most happy is when I'm giving something away and not when I'm getting something back.
Generations of Americans have been told that getting a bachelor's degree is the key to a relatively prosperous life. Many psychologists claim that going to college and receiving an education result in a happier future by opening more doors for positive experiences in life. But is this really true? Past generations may have valued work over education because of the real-life experiences they obtained, which ultimately may have contributed to their overall happiness.
My happiness that I get from working and volunteering is different than the happiness I get from college.
Well, I think going definitely impacted happiness. You learn so much and you meet so many wonderful people and the experiences and, expands your horizons. So yes, I think it very definitely impacts happiness in the future.
I would say it's made me happier. I'm having a good time here in Az. I love it. I'm looking forward to an exciting future as a speech therapist. I would say I wouldn't be as happy anywhere else.
Oh, absolutely. I went to college and I went to grad school, and I think it definitely did allow me to get a nice job and make a decent living, and therefore have a comfortable retirement.
Nope, I didn't go to college. I kind of want, maybe if you want to talk in terms of money, maybe having gone to college and gotten, into a career that would have been better pay. But as it turned out for me, I did a little co-op job when I was in high school working for an insurance company. And when I came to live in the Rochester area, one of my very first jobs I ever ended up with here was working for that same company in the insurance business. Then I was off for quite a long time where I had my children and raised my kids, and then I ended up going back into the insurance business and made a career change to a large insurance agency when I was in my early 40s, and ended up probably by the end of the time I retired making as much money as I would have made had I spent that time in college instead of raising my family.
Although no one really reported having regrets in their life thus far, we asked them what they would change in their life if they had the chance to increase their happiness.
Win the lottery. Why? Pay off my student loans. Just not having that stress in life. I know getting out of college is going to be a major influence on, how I spend my time, how I spend my money. So, win the lottery. Yeah, I would definitely do some things for myself. I would put some away, and this summer my friends and I would be going to Europe or somewhere else cool. I would spoil my horses, buy myself a car. But student loans come first, definitely. So.
Pay my husband back. Sorry, that's what it would be.
Take a day off and go hiking or fishing with friends.
Well, I have arthritis that limits my mobility. If I didn't have arthritis, I'd move faster, do more things.
And your energy. There was a recent survey of millennials asking them what their most important life goals were. And over 80% said that a major life goal for them was to get rich. And another 50% of those same young adults said that another major life goal was to become famous. Just like the millennials in that recent survey, many of our men, when they were starting out as young adults, really believed that fame and wealth and high achievement were what they needed to go after to have a good life. But over and over these 75 years, our study has shown that the people who fared the best were the people who leaned into relationships with family, with friends, with community.
Oh, I think your faith, your health, and the people around you probably are what makes you either unhappy or happy.
The people you're with, what you're doing, and outside factors that are weighing on you that day.
Money, because if you have enough money, that just takes away huge worry and stress on your life. So you can worry about everything else. So money, having enough money. Relationships with everyone around you, if there's a stress in that area. it really weighs on you. So fixing personal relationships or maintaining them. And lastly, just having downtime or doing something fun. Is if you can't do any of that, then like what's the point of life if you're not having any kind of fun or happiness? So
I guess being in a safe place, having support, family around you, and the third thing I guess would be friends.
Happiness, as the Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines it, is a state of well-being and contentment. Sure, that's one way to put it, but what does it really mean to feel on top of the world or entirely at peace with oneself? Do you feel immersed in joy? On cloud nine? Most of us probably don't believe we need a formal definition of happiness. We know it when we feel it, and we often use the term to describe a range of positive emotions. Our culture of youth obsession and celebration of the college years and 20s as the golden years of one's life has led many of us to believe that our happiness declines as we age. Although a number of factors may be at play in rising levels of well-being, a tendency towards greater acceptance of oneself and one's life circumstances may play a significant role as we become older. That acceptance brings diminished anxiety and a higher degree of enjoyment. With all of that said,
how would you define happiness?